LSU and started for the better part of 3 seasons for the Tigers. Was part of a team that reached the national championship game in 2012. Of course, LSU coming off of the loss in Arkansas, and they will play at Texas A&M on Thanksgiving night, so we'll have a little bit to get ready for that game. Please give a warm quarterback club welcome to PJ Lonergan. PJ.
First, I'd like to thank Ken and the New Orleans Quarterback Club for having me. Now what to talk about? Jeez.
Let's talk about Notre Dame.
Let's see. First thing I'll bring up is, Elliott. I will bring up something happened to me in my career at LSU. I had one snap that went over the quarterback's head, and actually was against Arkansas at Arkansas. So kind of relived that on this Saturday, and then fortunately we were able to punt. When I snapped it, it was recovered by Arkansas, and then Mo Claiborne saved my butt and intercepted the ball, I want to say the next play. So we were both safe, but I think we lost that game as well. So we always struggle when we go to Arkansas. Don't know why, but it always is, a tougher game for us. If you look, towards the end of, LSU's schedule each year, even when we do go to the national championship, and even when the team's very good, we always struggle towards the end of the year, whether it's with Ole Miss, even when they're in their down years, and Arkansas, I don't know, if it's because we overlook them or if it's because it's just the end of the season, and we're usually coming off playing Alabama, but for some reason those games always catch us. Some interesting things I think I've seen throughout the season. I think every game this season is, except for the exception of Kentucky, it's kind of left you scratching your head. Even if we do win, I think that's, I love Coach Miles, but that's his style. That's Les Miles fashion. You kind of leave you scratching your head, saying, "Hey, what's going on?" With the way he is, the way y'all see him on TV, some of the things he says is the exact way he is in the program, in the locker room, for the meetings. He says stuff, and it just, the players are just thinking, "Man, what did this guy just say?" That is Coach Miles, and that's what you're going to get. And like I said, love him to death, and that's how he is. But getting back to the season, I think the quarterback struggles we've had this year have been a big issue. Am happy though to see him, stick with one guy, even though things are not going well. And I think ultimately there probably will be some changes, whether it happens with a guy we recruit or with a younger freshman. It's good to see him stick with one guy. When I played, it was Jordan, Jefferson, and Jared Lee. And back and forth it went, from season to season, from game to game. Love Jordan, I love Jared. And each of them had their own unique things that they did well. It just, as a player, having the different guys come in and out the huddle, I just don't think it's the best system, to be successful with. Especially when you have two completely different guys, like Jordan and Jared were. One ran, one pretty much threw. Two totally different sets of plays getting called, and that just throws things off. So I am glad that he at least picked one and has stuck with that one. I guess after the Arkansas game, which was a really tough situation to stick a freshman quarterback in and expect him to go out and perform. In that game against a top 5 opponent, at their home field, that's a really tough spot. The Alabama game, really, the offensive line, I thought played well, and so against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, they played very well. Kind of confused when you get down to the end, and again, you're left scratching your head as to why we tried to throw the ball 4 times when seemingly all we can do is pass. I mean, seemingly all we do is run, in every single game this season. I don't know if we wanted to strike them quick or what the deal was with that, but that was very confusing and very frustrating. Now, especially since it looks like Alabama is going to be in the SEC championship game, barring a win against Auburn, which hopefully they will knock them off, and we'll see Mississippi State go. Much rather see Mississippi State go than Alabama, just because when I played, just as recently 2 years ago, Alabama always goes. Mississippi State's the underdog, and they've been fighting. And overall, Mississippi State, there's some good guys that play for that team, and just to see a different face, I guess, in the game would be a great thing. I guess we got Texas A&M coming up. I think we have a bye this week, and we got Texas A&M coming up at A&M. Predictions. Not really sure what's going to happen. This might have been the plan the whole year. They got the first season of the Duck Commander, Bowl. I think LSU just had a down year because they wanted to be the first team in the Duck Commander Bowl in Shreveport, so they could kick it off the right way.
That's a good explanation.
But no, they definitely, who knows what you're going to get with either team. Who knows what Texas A&M team's going to show up, and who knows what LSU team's going to show up. Will the offensive line show up like they did against Ole Miss, against Alabama, and one thing I always, this season in particular, you'd rather look bad losing than look good winning, and of course you'd rather look bad winning than look good losing. And I think that's been the situation the majority of this season with LSU, with games they've won and with games they've lost. So, any questions?
This Thanksgiving game with A&M,
Yes.
is that a home and home thing?
From confidence, that's all I have.
Yeah, from what I've heard, all right, so I don't know if this is the question you're asking, but supposedly Texas A&M wants to have the game on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, I thought it was going to be that every year now.
Well, LSU, from what I hear, LSU is fighting that. They're saying, hey, we want it to be the Friday after Thanksgiving. That's the way we like it. And A&M saying, no, we want it Thanksgiving Day. And they're saying, fine, well, you have it on your day when it's at your place, and we'll have it on our day when it's at our place.
Okay.
So that's kind of what's going on. Yes.
A school the size of LSU, they have the quarterback problems with personnel. And then, my question is, we're paying, Cameron comes in, you're paying $1.2 million a year, and you have the 108th best offense in college. And the guy that's the Heisman candidate from Mississippi State, you told him he would have to play defensive back. I mean, what do you think of all that?
Oh, man. I think sometimes there's some issues on the team with, kind of keeping your hand out the cookie jar, so to say. And I think things kind of get mixed up. One person's asking for one play and one person's asking the other. And, I've had personal experience with that, getting on the field and seeing what defense they're in and knowing what will work and what will not work. But the persistency of others, wins out, and we've run certain plays that don't work, and then they're thrown to the wayside. But there is a certain factor, I guess you could say, of sticking your hand in a cookie jar that does go on.
So you think Miles is the last word?
I wouldn't say he's the last word, but it's persistency that wins out with that. He's persistent in what he wants. He's not going to say, you need to run this play. This is what I want. That's not. But he does get. Ultimately gets what he wants.
Well, he's been there the whole time, so Cam Cameron's only been there 2 years, and then we've had other guys, so Miles,
Well, that's a
he's
good-
persistent
That's good.
the whole time. I got, as far as, you were talking about quarterbacks coming in and out, and back with Jefferson and Jarrett Lee, and you thought it was good to keep one. I guess we were talking about as we're looking at the game, the Arkansas game, which actually I didn't even see. I was at a wedding, I guess, thank goodness. But in the national championship game, for example, when we watched the Alabama LSU national championship game, you played at some point, did you guys want to change that happen? I mean, as an offensive lineman, you're sitting there running the same thing over. You got the persistency going for miles or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I guess I feel like in the Arkansas game, at some point, you do something different. You can't win scoring 0.
You know, funny you bring the national championship game up. So, you know, everybody's always asked me, hey, what happened in the locker room? What happened at halftime? What was said? And the answer is nothing. Nothing happened. Everyone thinks that there was this altercation, I guess, between, you know, a squad of players that were supporting Jarrett Lee and a squad of players that were supporting Jordan Jefferson, and that's not, you know, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Everyone was together, and there was no, you know, there was literally nothing said at halftime. You know, it's like, hey, let's go out here, let's continue to try and, you know, run the game plan. There was no friction in the locker room at halftime for the national championship game. Now, yes, you do get. I've had plenty of instances. Plays come in, and you're like, what the heck is going on? This is not going to work. But that's part of. I mean, you know, that hasn't just happened, you know, at LSU. That happens, you know, in high school and stuff. But yeah, there's plenty of times when you're like, you know, I've told, you know, Zach before in certain instances, it's like, hey, if you want to, go ahead and change it. Just say we messed up, you know. But you know, we ultimately we ran the plays, but you know, it does. I mean, that's just how the game. You know, sometimes you get stuff that comes in and you just wonder why.
One more area.
Keeping up with the quarterback, with single one quarterback. Problem is, it's wrong quarterback. This guy simply has no upside. When does he make the decision that this guy has no upside? He's not going to be a big quarterback. I mean, this is a brand. He's not going to be the guy. One of the problems goes on with this guy. You watch a game with some coaches. It's bad for the recruiting. You got athletes that are thinking, this guy can't get me the ball. If this guy's here another 2 years, I'm going somewhere else with somebody to get the ball. You share that opinion?
I do share that. Yes, I do. You know, unfortunately, you know, it's not the NFL. You can't go sign another one in the middle of the season. But I do think that you're correct. That you got these athletes that, and we can't find them the ball. You know, I know that, you know, we beat Kentucky, you know, easily. But you know, watch the game. We barely completed any passes. And you say, you know, I know our wide receivers are talented enough with the guys we have that don't tell me that no one's getting open against Kentucky, you know, and I don't know if he hasn't made a change because he's not confident in the other guy yet neither. Who knows? Like I said, maybe the answer isn't on the team right now. Maybe that, you know, he's got his eye on a recruit or something. I don't, you know, like the kid Brandon Harris, you know, he comes from a spread type deal in high school who never took a snap under center before. So for him to come in and expect him to fit the mold right off the bat, is, I guess, you know, a rush would be rushing into things. No, he can't be. He can't. You're right. But I mean, he really, if he is going to be the answer, and you say yes, we can work with this kid. We're going to make him into this pro-style quarterback. We think he can. Why put him in right now as a freshman and let him have some miserable experiences, with this tough season we're having right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that possibly you could ruin them as opposed to help them if you do.
I agree, yeah.
There's a possibility of that. But I guess, I don't know. We can recruit offensive linemen really well. We can recruit running backs really well. We can recruit defensive linemen and any defensive player really well. But in 12 years, we can't recruit a quarterback. Or however long Les Miles has been there, we can't recruit a quarterback. So I think, along with what this gentleman over here was saying, is there may be something to a recruit who looks and says, I know he's just going to run the ball no matter what, because we locked into Mettenberger. He ended up at Georgia and came to LSU, and then we have the most prolific passing game we've had. I don't know how long, but it's been a while. So I don't know. I know you were in the mix of it. I'm not asking you to tell any secrets or whatever, but I know that. But it just seems odd that.
I do think that one of the very odd things is that you hire Cam Cameron, right? He's pro, guy. He's that pro offense. But then you look at the guys we recruit, and you recruit these spread guys, or even these guys that want to run. They want to run the option stuff. And I thought that was one thing that was kind of strange about the Jared Lee, Jordan Jefferson situation, is that it's not like, and it's hard to say which quarterback's better because each of them are different. But you're saying if you're going to compare two quarterbacks that you're running the same scheme with, that are the same type of quarterbacks, then you can compare them. But to compare one to the other when you're running different plays with each one is tough. And I do think it's weird. Why would we not recruit a pro style, one of these big, tall guy that just sits back in the pocket and throws the ball? Why have we not tried to recruit one of those, or has it just not worked out? But that's the system they want to run, so why not get the guy that runs that system? I know, I agree. Yeah.
Last one, yeah.
What happened with Gunner Keel?
Okay. Yes, I was. That was the quarterback that decided to go to Notre Dame, and Miles was like, "Oh, he doesn't have enough chest." I think that's what he said.
Yeah,
It's
he's
one of
at
those
third
moments,
school.
yeah.
Now he's at Cincinnati.
Okay, so I was actually there. Yeah, I was there when they were recruiting him. I want to say I was a junior, and I remember, Gunner, the kid came in, his parents came in, and then he committed. I think he was supposed to come early, and then right before he was supposed to come, he left. I don't exactly know what happened. But you think of, LSU's had a little bit of bad luck in the quarterback, arena. Also with the kid who was a very, very, good guy and a good quarterback. The baseball, Zach Lee, who, to his benefit, was using college sports to get more money, in the MLB. But who wouldn't have done the same thing? They lost him, and then you say the guy Gunner, and then wasn't there a guy who recently just left too, just transferred? I thought as well. Rivers is a great guy. I love Steven. Rivers was not your answer at quarterback. I still talk to Steven. Steven, came to my wedding and everything, but he's definitely not, he wasn't the answer at quarterback, for the Tigers.
How's Rummel going to do?
Oh, Raider Pride, baby. We're going to win a state 3 years in a row.